Welcome back to Peek into COS. Today, I'm joined by Amanda and Mike Bristol, the masterminds behind Bristol Brewing and Ivywild School. It's so great to have you both here.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, great to be here.
It's almost like a home game. This one wasn't far at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk today a lot about Bristol Brewing and Ivywild School and the community that's kind of been established, that was established and then hit some interesting times. But I want to have people learn a little bit about you all, your backgrounds, because people often, I'm sure, ask you, okay, so I'd like to do what you do. And and how did it all start?
You want to start with that one?
Well, the short version, I think it needs to be, which is not my specialty, but is basically we were dating. We started home brewing, and the beer
was back in the 1990s.
Yeah, right. So this was this was long enough ago that home brewing was like kind of fairly new and spreading as an interest, and so we went to the local homebrew shop. And the beer, it was good.
Which it seemed good at the time.
Which when his cousins brewed their homebrew, it was not. I hope they're not listening, but it was not great. But anyway, so we were surprised. It was good, and we started to think, hey, could we do this for a living? There's other breweries doing it, especially in Mike's hometown of Fort Collins.
And we were living in North Florida at this time. She's from Jacksonville, Florida. Mm-hmm. So my first job out of college sent me down there. So she was working in the advertising industry as a copywriter and a creative director. And my background was in mechanical engineering, and I was working in the car business at the time. And so we thought, maybe you could make a living doing this. I mean, it was not a proven concept that you could at that point.
Okay.
But we had seen some other ones start, but whether it was really sustainable was probably a little bit still in question.
And Florida was not a great place to start a brewery, so we started looking around, and we ended up in his home state, which made the most sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, I sometimes kid with my colleagues at the chamber, and I say, you guys are always there for the ribbon cuttings, which is so fun. But there's always
what happens
more
after
and more to the story. So how'd you end up in the Springs?
Well, we kind of went. We did some research, and we said we could go anywhere in the U.S. and we said, well, let's sort of look at where we think will support what we want to do. And at that point, what we really wanted to do was be the local brewery. We wanted to be in a community that we could establish roots, that the brewery could be a center of much more than just beer. And so that ruled out big cities. We just weren't interested in Denver, San Francisco, any of those. A big part of it was sort of selfish. Like, okay, if this works, we're never going to move, right? Yeah. We're never going to move again. So let's find a place that we want to be.
Raise a family.
Exactly.
And interesting, I still remember the final three. The final three were the Raleigh-Durham area of North Carolina, Boise, Idaho, and Colorado Springs. And of course, Colorado Springs won out. It's Colorado. Looking back on it, I don't know why there was any question, really. It's been great.
Yeah.
So close to the mountains to be able to get outside, just a population that was ready to support something like this.
Right.
Second largest city in Colorado, and we didn't want to live in Denver, and so it just kind of all came together.
But it was a strange time back then. I mean, you think about those early '90s and some of the controversy.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh!
It was. Looking back on it, was maybe a little bit of a risk, on our part.
You could have gone Fort Collins.
Yeah,
that's right.
Gone home,
right.
And where beer is, like their middle name.
Yeah. Yeah, we wanted to be, at that point we would have been, I think, the fourth brewery in Fort Collins had we gone there. So we said, let's do our own thing. And I'm really glad. I love Fort Collins, and I still have family there, but I much prefer Colorado Springs as a place to live.
This just turned out to be perfect. Yeah. Really great for us.
So let's talk about your location. Let's tell people, one, where it's physically located, and then let's talk about what it's inside of.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It's located south of downtown in what we call the Ivywild neighborhood, not too far off the interstate.
Right.
South Cascade.
Yeah, South Cascade, yeah.
Yeah, and it's in a 100-year-old elementary school, which we converted in 2000. Well, It opened in 2013 with us. It took a couple of years to put it all together.
And we had a couple of partners too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got here in 2011, and I just remember
Oh yeah.
watching it and just wondering,
Is this gonna come
is
together?
urban renewal really? Is it
Right.
really blight?
Right.
How is this going to
Right.
work? And
Well, when that school closed, when the Ivywild Elementary School closed in 2009, I mean, it just, the neighborhood lost its centerpiece. And we love old buildings, and we just hated to see that building get closed up, too. It's such a beautiful building, so much character. And you don't want to see those torn down. You want to see something good done with them. And, it's just... Finally, I mean, it was our third spot in Colorado Springs.
because you were across the street.
That's
We're
right.
Across the street.
Yeah.
That was our
That's
second
right.
one.
But it was the coolest and most historic, and it was like, finally, this is what we wanted from the beginning.
Yeah.
So it was great. Yeah.
It's a dream. So for listeners who are visitors and wondering about your itineraries, we always talk on this program about you never stay long enough.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you plan to stay, like there are people who come for a day and then they'll go, "Oh, but there's a zoo.
Yeah.
I wish we had more
Yeah,
time.
there's a cog. I mean, there's all these things that we could have done. And so when it comes to, food and beverage, it's a part of everybody's itinerary. So no matter how long you're staying, we really want people to understand a little bit about what makes the school, the history of the school, what made it so special, and then how you have preserved it.
Yeah, I think what makes that school special, and really any school, if you think about it, I mean, a school historically has always been the center of the neighborhood. Even if your kids aren't in the school, back when we used to actually go vote
You
in
vote
person,
there.
you voted there.
Yeah.
A public, anytime there's a neighborhood meeting, it's generally held in the school.
Yeah.
And so that was important to us to sort of, in a completely different way, keep that building still the center of that neighborhood. And so we've always strived to have it as a gathering place, a place for not just neighbors to see neighbors, but people to see each other.
Yep.
And really, and this is not, it's probably even more important now than it was when we did this, but just this idea of getting people out talking to each other. And I always say that if you're across the table and having a beer with somebody, it's just a lot harder to hate them. You know what I mean? I mean, you find
something in common.
Yeah,
you
that's
find
right.
something in common. And so if we can get people off the couch, off the internet, and TV and
there's
just
no TVs
just
there.
get them talking to each other.
Well,
that's I think in this day and age, that's a really important thing.
It is. And since you all were physically across the street, you were already ingrained in the neighborhood, and I'm sure that when that school closed, I don't know whose idea it was, but I will tell you that over the years I've had people that will take over there, and they'll just say, well, we have a school that's closed in our community, and like, how did they do this? So, well, you need more than one beer to
That's right.
hear the whole story. But what's to me kind of significant is this is what, year 13?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, lucky 13. You've survived the test of time in a really different sort of environment, and I want to first say I don't want to miss the chance to say thank you for what you've done to Ivywild as a community, but to all of us in the tourism industry. You've given us this place that we love to show off and send people to, and you never disappoint. and so in addition, we'll talk about beer, but let's talk about food. Let's talk about things that as people, I want you guys in your own words to describe the experience of once you get parked and you're walking into Ivywild. Describe what that experience is like.
Well, one of the things that was always really important to me, and I think all of us, was that when you walked in, we wanted you to feel like you were in a school. There have been other schools that have been repurposed, and either they're not made public, so you can't just go in and appreciate the space, or they just didn't think too hard about how to sort of keep that feeling.
Sure.
And so in all of the, and Mike has, more of the details on like the down and dirty, the contractor this and we did that, or an urban renewal and all of that. But for me, it was about the feeling, and about when you walk in, you should hear the echoes of the students that passed through there. And we wanted to keep as much of the art that was up. There was some student art up. There was some art up on the walls, murals on the walls that were painted by one of the teachers with help from some of the students. We wanted to preserve those. And that was not easy, because if we wanted to paint the rest of the walls, we had to, the painters had to painstakingly paint around the different mural the scenes. And so to me, and a lot of people, when they come in and talk to us, we'll get into a conversation with someone and they'll say, I feel like I'm in school again, only I get
go to the bathroom.
only I get to drink a beer,
Right. Yeah.
And so, yes, when you walk in, there's a old wooden floor that creaks as you walk, that just feels so real. There's the doors up and down the hallway that led to each classroom.
Hallway,
Yeah,
that
it does
classic
have
long, wide hallway.
Yeah.
Everything goes off of one hallway.
The transoms above each door. The school was built in 1916, so the historic quality is very much there. And we tried to keep as much of that as we could. And even in the principal's office, which is one of the locations in there, which is in the old principal's office, they actually, the glassware is held up by chains that were actually chains that were in the swing sets on the playground. We saved, we left many of the chalkboards on the walls, but the ones we couldn't leave up, we preserved the slate, and that's the bar top for that principal's office bar. And the gym is just the sounds and the smells and the feel you get when you go in there. You just feel like you're in school, but it's way more fun.
It is. If walls could talk, right?
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I've been in there when political candidates were announcing they were going to run for office. There's just, I've been in there for birthdays and anniversaries, and it's such a public space that I think people just take pride in. I can't even imagine what it's like when either a former teacher or a former student approaches
Oh, and
you.
we do have that. Yeah,
that is always
they
great.
come back.
Yeah, that's just because you've done such a good job at preserving it. So there again, that's probably your background coming in, Mike, and so one of the things I want people to hear about is the on-site operation. I mean, everything for Bristol Brewing happens there at Ivywild.
Yeah, and I think that was a little bit of an interesting challenge for the construction part of it,
Sure.
because on the one hand, we had this vision of keeping the school as much like a school as possible. But then on the other side of the coin, we had these large tanks and equipment that we needed to install. And so in the end, and again, it was myself and Joseph Coleman, and Jim Fennell was the architect that was involved in the beginning. And so we kind of figured out that really what made sense for a lot of the large tanks was the addition on the, I guess it's the north side of the building there. And that's plainly visible to anybody that pulls up. And that way we didn't have to tear out floors. We didn't have to really mess with the structure of the main building to get these 18-foot tall tanks in there. And then in the back of it, and this is where the urban renewal really helped a lot, that a lot of, in fact, the most of the money that came into it through urban renewal was to shore up this hill back there and allow us to build our packaging hall back there. So there's a second building back there. It's about 4,400 square feet. That's where the canning line, the bottling line, the keg line, and our cold storage is. And so a lot of people don't know that because you never, unless you park back there, you never see it. So that was a key piece. There's actually a small culvert tunnel that goes between the two buildings, and so that's where the beers pipe through there, steam, glycol, all of the systems. So it was an interesting challenge to put basically a production facility, an operation, into something as unique as that. And I'm really proud of the way it came out. I mean, I think, and it wasn't all me. I had a lot of help with ideas, and it's really that I think gives it even a whole nother level of character.
Yeah. How many employees?
Let's see, we run about 35 or so right now, and it has been a little bigger. COVID certainly knocked us down a little bit, and it's kind of climbing back.
Yeah.
But it's a good group.
Yeah, and you've got people that have been there a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have
a
some
lot of
long
good people
time.
make it happen.
Yeah.
For sure.
The culture is. Talk a little bit about the food before we get into talking about beer.
Yeah, so if it, going back to sort of what you'd experience if you haven't been there, you're thinking about coming. I mean, you walk in, there's this main hallway, and then the food concepts have changed over the years, and so now we kind of stole a page from the food hall concept. Not that we wanted to be a food hall, but this idea that, hey, let's give some choice. So at this point, we have the Ivywild Kitchen, which does fantastic smash burgers, really good chicken sandwiches, chicken fingers,
BLT,
fries. Then Decent Pizza, which does Detroit-style pizza. Also, I mean, I'm biased, also very good.
Yeah.
Then we have Salad or Bust, which started as a food truck, then moved into this facility, and then now they have a full restaurant downtown as well. So it's been fun to kind of work with Bob and Stephanie and kind of watch them grow, and that's really satisfying.
and that's salads and sandwiches and charcuterie and soups. They do great soups too. Yeah, they do a great job.
And then on the other end, when you walk up to the building, you see there's a 20-foot shipping container that was been completely repurposed that sits outside that is Spark Barbecue.
Yep.
And so it's authentic barbecue, and that's available within the school too. And in the summertime, that whole outdoor area, we call it the schoolyard, and that's just really a wonderful place to hang out. And you can get barbecue in the winter too, but in the summer, just sitting down there.
Well, there's more places to sit out than there are in, aren't there?
There's a lot of outside space.
Yeah, there really is.
We have the two really nice patios built into the building, and then when we redid the schoolyard, that's only been a couple of years now, but when we redid that and landscaped it, that's really created a lot of interest for just cool events that we put on. We've been putting on and we like quirky stuff. I mean, if you walk through the building, we like quirky stuff. And so, one of our events is, and we've been doing this, I don't know how many years, but the buses at the brewery. And
that was in our location across the street.
And we get anywhere from 35 to 50 vintage Volkswagen buses, and they show up, and we close off the parking lot, and we have bands, and people drink beer, and they just wander around and look at these buses and talk to the people. And that's just that's a kind of event that for us is
part of our culture.
We're proud of it because it's kind of part of us. It's not something that we saw on, we should copy that idea, It
We
just
have
sort of
a bus,
evolved. And we have a bus. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing I think that's important for people who maybe haven't been there yet is to understand you are smack dab in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And because you were there, you don't stay open all hours of the night. This is not a late night, brewery food service operation because you're in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's never been what we were about
that wasn't
anyway.
your audience, right?
Yeah. No, I have a friend that jokes that, nothing good ever happens in a bar after midnight. And
He's right. Yeah.
so sometimes we say, okay, I don't remember where the line comes from. I can't take credit for it, but sometimes you just have to tell somebody, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
The only people on the roads after midnight are policemen and fools. There's another way to.
Great.
So let's talk about the beer because that's how it started.
Yeah.
And
do you want some?
That's still the passion.
That is the passion. So
Yeah.
let's talk about what Bristol really was founded on.
Yeah, we started. Do you want to pour some Beehive and I'll talk a little bit about the history of the beers?
Sure.
So in 1994, we started with only 2 beers. Back then, you could get away with that. Now, you'd never get away with that.
Yeah.
And one of them was Laughing Lab Scottish Ale, which has been our flagship beer from, yes, you've got the vintage
Wearing
shirt.
your colors.
I love it. Yeah.
We appreciate that. I'm going to just do a smaller to start out with
Okay.
since we're going to,
Yeah.
we don't want to like go too crazy. But, we'll do a little.
And Red Rocket Pale Ale was the other beer, which is also still available, but only on draft in the pub.
Okay.
And after that, we kind of evolved with some different beers. The third beer we'll taste is the Winter Warlock Oatmeal Stout, which is a real crowd favorite during the wintertime. It's
Yeah.
our seasonal winter beer.
Winter. I remember winter.
Yeah, I mean, back when we
Yeah,
had
really.
winter. Sometimes when you drink Winter Warlock, you remember winter.
That's it. That's it. Well, cheers.
Cheers. Yeah.
Cheers.
So we've got a little beehive here to start.
Yeah.
This is our lightest. I wasn't really listening because I was trying to pour, which I didn't do a great job of. He's got way too big of a head, and you have 0, so sorry about that. But often when we have tourists come in to the pub, they'll say, "What's your lightest beer?" And often this is, I mean, we do have some steady beers that are year-round, but often we'll have a rice ale or something lighter. But this is our standard lightest beer right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great beer in the summertime. We
is
use
a great beer.
we use 60 pounds of local honey in every batch. It's not intended to be sweet. The honey just gives it another layer of complexity
You can kind
to
of
the wheat
taste it
beer.
just barely.
And
You can.
I mean, it is in the summertime. You go there, you come there and look out of the patio in that schoolyard, and I bet 70% of the people are drinking Beehive, and I don't blame them. It's the perfect
Yeah.
sort of sitting out on the patio kind of beer.
Right. And yet, I have a brother-in-law in San Antonio who comes up here, and he always drives so he can take not only this, but I mean, he is just such a Laughing Lab fan. And he says, "Well, Doug, we just can't get this in Texas."
Oh, that's wonderful
and
to
so,
hear.
Yeah, so he's taking it across state lines.
Oh, that's great.
And he
That's
says,
That's great. See, he can do that. We can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Or we don't want to, I should say.
Yeah, he has bought merch. His garage has got it all. So you just
Oh,
have
that's
to know
wonderful.
the prices. We support
Well,
you.
We
however
appreciate
We
that
appreciate that,
very much.
and I hear those stories, and it's really great. Our banker was telling the story about one of his, I think it was his son or maybe it was his daughter, getting married in Michigan or somewhere out there, and one of the biggest challenges was who's going to drive so we can get enough Laughing Lab out to the wedding, and there's a lot of, that makes me feel great,
Well,
I mean,
that's what it's all about. I mean,
Yeah.
you really, there's no
Yeah.
way to measure that feeling, but
Right.
Oh,
but
yeah.
94. So that really was Laughing Lab was your
Yeah.
inaugural.
yeah.
Laughing Lab and our Red Rocket Pale Ale were
Yeah.
the 2 that we started with, and they, I still really enjoy drinking Red Rocket. It's just like, it's only available at the pub now, but it's
That's the tease.
classic.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even think about that.
Well, the marketing director.
Yeah.
And we didn't bring Laughing Lab because everybody's pretty familiar with it. But for those people listening to the podcast that aren't familiar with it, you gotta try it while you're here. You know?
Really.
And no better place to try it than in its natural habitat at the Bristol pub.
Yeah. All right. And one of the things, so let's do
We
another.
go with this one?
Yeah.
All right.
So this is a newer,
yeah.
this is a new line for us called a newer line called World Peace Death Ray, and this is based off of. We always like to, if we can, we try to pull in some unique stuff from Colorado Springs, and this is a nod to Nikola Tesla.
I'm sorry. Can you finish
You
that?
got
Like,
it.
we
Finish
cannot
it. Okay.
mix.
All right.
Sorry.
Yes, I have a little bit.
That's so weird, but I didn't have anywhere I could pour it. I would have poured it out.
Aficionado.
Okay.
Yes.
We're purists, If
Yes,
it wouldn't
may
taste
that be
like.
the toughest request I have all day.
It wouldn't
Doug,
taste
could you please
right.
finish your beer before we pour a little more in there?
Okay.
So this is a
So-
nod to Tesla.
Yeah, so we did a series called the Forgotten Genius series, and we named the beers after things that related to Nikola Tesla because of his history in Colorado Springs for
Sure,
that
of
short
course.
period of time. And so we had multiple beers, but the World Peace Death Ray was the one that really resonated with people. So then we took that beer and we kind of built a line around it called World Peace Death Ray. And Nikola Tesla's concept was that if he could develop this I mean, it was so far ahead of its time. But if you
Yeah.
could, this death ray that was in the sky and would zap anybody, that we'd never have a war.
Right.
It would be the ultimate defense system, you know?
Right.
And well before the Star Wars system and all that stuff. So, so that resonated with us, and so we built this line around the World Peace Death Ray, and it's based all around hops and IPAs and so everything in the World Peace Death Ray series. There's 4 beers right now. They're all really focused on the hops in different ways. So yeah,
that's great.
people that
So
like
this is-
IPAs, I mean,
Yeah.
this is where they
This
go.
is like the opposite, really, of Laughing Lab, because Laughing Lab is malty,
Yeah.
smooth, and dark. And this is all about hops, as
It
he
is.
said.
Yeah.
And so if you gotta like hops, really.
Yeah, to do this.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see the difference just between this and Beehive is huge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's what's been fun about, 32 years is, I mean, we've done a lot of different beers and a lot of great beers, and some of them are still around, some of them aren't. but,
Yeah,
you know.
sure. I'm curious. We know you're in a neighborhood, you're in a community, but how important are visitors to Ivywild?
Oh, we love it. I mean, I think we're set up for that. It's one of the, there's not a lot of places where you can, particularly if you have a small group, that you can just sort of show up somewhere
Yeah.
and find a space to get, 8, 12, 16 people kind of together.
Sure.
And, sometimes it stresses our staff out. They're like, 25 people just walked in. I said,
Yeah.
that's good. That is good.
And the problem is?
Yeah, right, exactly.
And so it's, I think because of that, it is great for visitors because you can be by yourself, or you can have 16 of your best friends,
Family
or you
members
can,
or something.
we get a lot of people that are at a conference at the Broadmoor and they hear about
Sure.
it and say, oh, let's go down. So you get 8 people or 10 people coming down after their conference. No, we love it, and we love kind of showing it off.
Yep.
And there's also still in Colorado in particular, there's a real beer tourism component too, which of course you're
Yeah.
aware of. But so a lot of times we'll. I'll be walking through the pub maybe 2:00 in the afternoon or something. So it's not full, but there'll be some
Yeah.
people in there, and you'll see a couple sitting at the bar, and they'll have their little map out or their brew
Yeah.
brew guide, and
Sure.
and we love helping them with that too. They'll say, hey, I've only got time for 2 more stops. Which one should they be? And we were happy to point them in.
Of
It's our
course,
personal
it's-
preference.
It's
but-
competition, right?
But what I love is that, as far as visitors goes, is just being a part of Colorado Springs and our building being a part of Colorado Springs history. And now I guess our brewery is a little bit, we've been
Yes.
around so long.
Well, I learned today you're 2 years older than the Broadmoor. Broadmoor was 1918, you're 1916.
That's right. That's a great building. And just feeling like we have the chance to represent Colorado Springs and show visitors what Colorado Springs is all about.
Yeah.
Just the real thing, and hopefully they will run into some locals there,
That's
and
it.
hopefully get the two intermingling, and it's a great introduction to this part of town where you can get into the mountains pretty easily. Just a quick drive, and not too far from downtown as well.
at
So
all.
it's a great
No, very
location for
close.
experiencing really what Colorado Springs is.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about itineraries, and if people are coming in out of town for us, I said go to Cheyenne Canyon, go take a hike in Cheyenne Canyon, explore the Broadmoor. Ivyweld's going to be right on your way. The zoo, I mean, you're going to go, depending on where you're staying in town, you're probably going to drive right by our place to go to the zoo, or Cheyenne Canyon for that matter. So it does work out really well to go do something outdoors, or do something, see something in that part of town, and then stop in for a beer.
All right, so Amanda, tell me what you just poured here.
This is our Winter Warlock Oatmeal Stout, and it's a seasonal, so it's only available starting in about October until about now-ish. So we're running out, actually. I think we're getting pretty low on it at the brewery, although it's still out in some liquor stores.
Yeah.
But it's a stout that has a nice roast character to it. You can just taste it immediately, and you can smell it too. It's not sweet, but it's not hoppy. It's just this nice roast. It's the kind of beer that you want to sit in front of a fire with,
Yeah.
you know, when it's
Yeah.
cold outside.
And watch the Broncos win.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, that's really good, and it's one of my wife's favorites. She loves one.
And that one's been around since that was the first beer that we did after the first two.
Oh, okay.
So that one's been
Number
around
3.
since
It was our first seasonal.
yeah,
first season.
since the very end of 1994. So
Wow.
yeah,
So you've got that one down to absolute science.
we'd like to think so.
All right, so before we wrap, let's give a shout out to the episode sponsor for today, which happens to be Visit COS, but it's our Wellness Pass. We like to call it New Year, New You. The Wellness Pass features deals and discounts to various spas, massage studios, and relaxation experiences around the Pikes Peak region. So you can prioritize your wellness this year as well as your beer. So you can find it at visitcos.com/wellness. Okay. All right. How many years have you lived here?
30,
It was
Three.
1993. So do that math.
33.
33 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with you, Mike. In 3 words, how would you describe Colorado Springs?
Ooh. Beautiful, active, and great beer.
And great beer. Okay.
It's 2 words,
That's all
yeah.
right. That works. We'll just put it together. Amanda, what would you say? What would your 3 words be?
Well, I was going to say beautiful too. Majestic,
There you go.
you know.
You're the
Pikes-
marketing person. so
Pikes
you're gonna
Peak.
come up with majestic.
And I would say growing and changing,
Yeah.
which is 2 words, sorry.
It's okay.
And God, I can't come up with just one word. I want to say, you know, just this great, interesting culture that you is not what meets the eye at first. It's like you dig a little bit and you find so many interesting things
Sure.
going on here.
Yeah.
So
Remember,
that
she was
is
copyrighted.
A
She can't do
1,000
one word.
words. Sorry.
Paid by the word. Good. All right. That's fair. Second question, and we'll stay with you, Amanda, on this one. What's your favorite hidden gem? Where is your place to go? Just energize, relax.
For me, it's got to be Cheyenne Canyon. If you're, did I steal yours?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It is.
You spelled beautiful.
I did.
That's right. If you want to stay in a car, you can even just drive up the Cheyenne Canyon Road, and you'll just be immersed. You won't even realize that the city is just minutes
Yeah.
from where you are, and you'll just feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. And
Okay.
but then when you get out of the car, then you can hike, you can mountain bike. There's waterfalls, and it's just so close.
Yeah, you're exactly right. How about you, Mike?
Oh, she threw me for a loop on that one because I spent a lot of time in Cheyenne Canyon. But I have to stay in the same area. I mean, I think it's a little bit cheating, but Stratton Open Space,
Yeah.
which is in that same area.
It
I mean,
is,
I
yeah.
think that just the proximity and the views of the city and the reservoir and
Well, and the amount of mitigation that's taken place
Yeah.
there too, as
Yeah.
well, kind of not only opens up the views, but makes us feel
Yeah.
a little safer.
yeah.
And that is one of the great places that you can go. And to me, it separates it a little bit from Cheyenne Canyon is that it's not hard to get to a spot where you have the city just laid out
Yeah.
before you. And
Yeah.
you look at it and you just go, wow, you know,
I know.
that's my
You're up there
town.
at the reservoir, and the Broadmoor's right over there,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
airport, that's out there. I can see it.
You kind of see it all. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I'll stay with you on this one. Is there something still on the Mike Bristol bucket list that you had not done in the Pikes Peak region? Like you just say, okay, we've talked about it, we've never gone.
Yeah. Trying to think which would be the most. It's funny. There's a few things because unless you have people from out of town, you don't think about doing it.
I know.
I think the Royal Gorge Railroad is the one we've been
Royal Gorge
speaking about
Railroad, okay.
more recently. Just like, why have we never
That's a
done
really
that?
good
You know,
one.
I mean,
Yeah.
they sell our beer on there. It's not far.
You should deliver it.
You know, so that's probably the first one that comes to mind, mostly
We're
because we
going
were
with.
just talking about
Yeah.
it.
Okay. How about you, Amanda?
I would say the cog railway. I'm probably the only person I know that's never done it.
Done the cog.
But I would love to take the cog railway. And since he
We
has
need to do
already
that,
done
yeah.
it, then it's kind of like,
I'll do it again.
there's other things that are always like, well, let's not do what we've already done. Let's do these other things,
Yeah.
But yeah, I really, really, really want to do that. That's
the
just a
cog.
great.
All right. Well, we've just made it
Thing.
public. We've just put
Yeah.
it out there.
That's right. It's got to happen now.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, first of all, for the time, the beer, but the commitment you've made to our community. It's all about community. And let's tell people where they can find you, social media, website, all those things, and your address one more time.
Well, we're at bristolbrewing.com for the brewery, ivywild.school.com for Ivywild. We are Bristol is on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and Ivywild School is on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
Physically,
What
we're at
else?
1604 South Cascade, but
Yep.
if you put in Ivywild School or Bristol in your directions, in your
Yeah, and-
app of choice, you will find us.
And no matter whether you're a resident or a visitor, there's always something going on. It starts with
Yeah.
coffee in the morning. I mean,
Yeah.
it just opens at what, 7?
Well, right now it's opening later, but we're going to get back to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
hold that thought. There's some things in the works to
Okay.
get that going.
But yeah, you can go in there and grab coffee.
But that's
first thing.
and
Yeah.
the events are a good thing. I mean, if you're coming into town visiting, check out those websites because you'll see if there's there's probably something going on.
That's it.
We do some interesting. We try to do things that bring people together. We have a really neat fall outdoor movie series, which is free and
Yeah.
bring your lawn chair kind of thing, and
Music in the
we
summer.
do music outside in the summers, and so
just special
I would say
events,
if you're coming from out of town, well, even if you're not coming from out of town, check those things and see what's going on because
Yeah.
there's usually something fun going on.
That's great. Well, thanks again for being here.
Well, thanks for your interest.
Yeah,
it's
good
always
stuff.
fun to talk
and
about
thank
it.
you for all that you guys do.
I got dressed
And
up for you.
I
I
really,
love that. That's just the best. It's been fun staring at that this whole time and just being like, oh my gosh,
That's
yes.
great.
that's
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.